If you're getting ready to move out, do not sign that lease until you watch this video. We're not just talking packing tips, we're covering how to actually build equity, where to find budget dupes for your favorite furniture, the questions no one tells you, and how to avoid costs that sneak up on you. This is the moving checklist you actually need. So let's get right into the video. Don't skip the hidden cost, and if you're not sure about them, we're gonna talk about a couple of them that might sneak up on you if you're thinking about moving out or you're about to move to your next apartment, condo, house, whatever. First rule of thumb before we get into that, hire a moving company. For the last maybe 3 times that I've moved, did not hire a moving company at all. This next time around, which will be very soon, that will change. It's something about just letting someone else do the hard thing so that you can focus on creating mental capacity for the next thing, your next new space. When you have to like lug that down, like I will save you the horror stories, but my last 2, no, all of them actually did not have elevators. And I almost always lived on a higher floor. And now mind you, they were like mid-rises, but still no elevator. Get a moving company that can really help you just pack up your stuff, be done in 4 to 5 hours, if that, and just like figure out what and how you want your next space to look like. Moving companies can cost anywhere between $300 to $1,200 for the day, depending on the hours, depending on how many items that you have. For me, I think we sat around like maybe $2,000, but that's because we had such big furniture, had like an L-shaped couch, had dresser drawers and bookshelves, things that didn't come with us to our next place, basically, because we either sold it or just got rid of it. It also matters on distance, time, and how much stuff you have overall. For distance, it always worked out because it was never really anything over 45 minutes. So I always just moved within the city, but it could be different for you if you're thinking about moving across states. That's gonna be a little bit more money because you have to ship things over. That includes your car if you have one. That includes like big ticket items. If you have multiple cars even, you have to plan for that. So I would highly recommend setting up a savings account right now, or at least 3 to 6 months before you're planning to say no to signing your lease. That gives you an extra 2 or 3 months depending on when your place needs you to tell them, I'm not staying here, that you have that extra $3,000, $4,000. Because mind you, when you're putting that investment into a moving company, you also have to think about the new furniture that's gonna come within there. Questions to ask when you're looking for a moving company is, do they charge hourly or is it a flat rate? Ask if they're insured and who they're insured by, so that's just their insurance. If something happens with the couch that you want and it just falls down the stairs with, you know, one of their workers or something. Also ask them if they help disassembling furniture and wrapping furniture. That is chef's kiss, because you don't want anything to get messed up if you can help it. And if you don't have to disassemble that bed, don't. Like if you're already paying for it, let them. Outside of moving out and hiring a moving company, little small costs that I talked about in this video. If you hadn't gotten a chance, finish this video or stop this video, watch that one, come back to this one. But application fees in your new places, typically if you're doing like an apartment, maybe even a condo or a townhome, usually $30 to $100. Some can range depending on like what state you live in, like New York. I know that that doesn't even scratch the surface with application fees. But also consider if you're working for a place that's well known in that city or state, ask them if they're a preferred partner with that person, especially if you're going to another apartment or even a condo sometimes. For like universities or big tech companies, you can ask them, hey, I work at so-and-so place. Are you a preferred partner with them? Or who is your preferred partner list? The biggest outside of hiring a moving company cost is going to be a security deposit. It sometimes can be at least 1 month's rent, at most a month and a half, maybe 2, depending on where you're going. Like, is it a luxury style apartment or condo, whatever, but have that money saved up. So all in all, right now, as of what we're talking about so far, if you're thinking about hiring a moving company and you're just kind of, say we're moving locally, no more than 30 to 45 minutes, and we're also thinking about security deposit and our application fees, you're probably needing to save, I would say, about $5,000. And I know that sounds like such a heavy lift, but I'm hoping making this video early enough for someone that can help early enough, it can be something that it's just water under the bridge at that point when you have enough time to prep for it. If you don't, there are other ways that you can look into that. And I would highly recommend finding ways you can make passive income while you're still working towards getting that moving cost kind of out the way. If you have any pets, they do cost. That's why I haven't gotten another dog yet. I'm just like, I do not want to pay $350 for this cutie patootie to be with me. Sorry, mean it, love it, but no. You might need first and last month's rent up front. I think that may go in tandem with the security deposit. It just depends. Like I don't know what every place does, but these are things I've heard, researched, and sometimes apartments, you got to really be careful because they can be a little shisty, and what you don't want happening is them try to like jip you out of your money, and then they say like when it's time to move out, they're using the security deposit to fix damages. Like know your regular wear and tears, blinds, little tiny holes from like thumbtacks. Like you got to really know your stuff or they'll try to get you. Utility setup can be a charge for sure as well. So that's your Wi-Fi, water, gas, trash even. So those are your additional cost outside of base rent typically. So say for example, your rent is $1,500. It might be an additional $150 a month. So it's really $1,650 because all the utility fees that come with the apartment or wherever you're moving. The craziest thing to me is like parking permits. Golly, it's expensive just to have your car live in a slot. Some places they have designated slots and those can be a little bit more like a premium price, or they just have slots where it's like, we have enough garage floors, pick one and hope that you don't have to go all the way up if you live all the way on the bottom floor. So think about that when you are considering moving out. Is those hidden costs? I don't want you to be surprised, especially like I was at one point. I was like, how much? I'll wait a couple months, thanks. But a pro tip that could be helpful if you have the choice, maybe if this is your first time moving out or you know your lease is ending, try to move mid-month or midweek. It's typically cheaper and less crowded, but it just depends on where you live. That doesn't apply to everybody. So try that out and see if that works for you. Furniture and decor on a budget. Without sacrificing aesthetics, you do not need to spend thousands to make your space feel like you. If this was me maybe a year ago, I would say something completely different, but it is very true that you can find the things that you want or the things you want adjacent to how your space can actually be. A website I learned about not too long ago was dupe.com. That's DUPE.com. I know at one point the cloud couches were all the rave. If you see a cloud couch you like, find that photo, maybe, or even find that link in Amazon if it's just too much there or whatever website you're looking for. Go to dupe.com, insert that photo or link, and it will truly find other areas where you can find similar, if not the same couches for half the price. Don't spend $1,400 on a couch that you can find on Dupe for like $700. That's literally half the price. So find and do your research early enough so that you don't feel like you have to make such game time decisions when you get the place because you just don't want to be without furniture for 3 or 4 more months or whatever the case could be. Plan accordingly, especially while you have the time. I'm not a big fan of this. That's just my personality, but I know some people do. Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, Craigslist. I'll be on Facebook Marketplace before I'm ever on a Craigslist. I don't know, just something about it gives me like eerie vibes, but I'm sure it's fine. And even thrift stores are a great place to find hidden gems. Now for me personally, I'm not sitting on anyone's couch or chairs or beds and mattresses. Like I am getting that brand new. My brain cannot compute to think I'm gonna sleep on the same place someone else used to sleep. Now that might not be your case, but for me, I like to deep clean all my stuff. Like I'm just a certain kind of way. For you, that may not be the case, and that's also perfectly fine. Find things you're willing to sacrifice on that you can get, and then find things that you really want to buy new or like new. And even sometimes go to these places and ask, has anyone returned something within the last 90 days? Can I see that to see if it fits your needs? Because sometimes returning it can be a markdown price, sometimes up to like $300, maybe even $5. What you could also do is try a room by room approach. So prioritize the bed, then the couch, then lighting first. Those affect your mood the most. So a comfortable bed is so important. When you have people or friends over, you just want to relax in a different area, your couch is going to be second best. And then lighting is so key. I'm not going to go deep into it in this video, maybe in a future video, but I'm really big on having lights in the house that reflect your circadian rhythm. So if you're not familiar with that, you remember when you were a kid and at 6 or 7 p.m. the street lights would come on and they'd be like this dingy yellow. That's really important for your body clock to know it's time to wind down. Like the fluorescent, like daylight type bright lights that we have, like the 2 lights that I have here are daylights. Essentially it's fine because it's like 6 in the morning right now. But when it's nighttime, I try not to turn these lights on. I try to keep like a really low light yellow light. So I'll even turn these to yellow if I have nothing else. And just keep that because it helps you kind of really get into reset sleep mode. Time to get into REM sleep. I'm really big on like sleep health, just overall body health. So if that's something that is important to you, I'll also link below some like light bulbs that I would absolutely get the minute I get into my new place, because it's just going to change the way that you sleep, change the way that you get up. And I definitely think that it's going to change the way that you start your day and end your days. Other things that you can kind of like judge up your apartment with if you didn't feel like, you know, you maybe got the countertops that you'd like. I recently, from Lena Lifts, if you're not familiar, it's this creative, in one of her last apartments, she used contact paper on her countertops. So it was like a black countertop and she wanted a white countertop. And so she found paper that worked and she just made it white. And I was like, wow, that's super cool. But you have to keep that in mind. Like some places where like you're not getting equity from, I'll talk about that in a second, but some places that you're only renting, they are gonna be like, oh, you can't do that, we don't want to mess that up. But maybe you can, and as long as you don't mess it up and you just take it off before you leave, that should be fine to get the look you want. But I've heard that some different types of countertops, like granite, can be really fine versus like a quartz countertop, because it just, the strength is in the durability is just not there to have such close contact paper be on something that's not, it's not really needed for. And then before you do anything, like truly after this video, go make a mood board for your apartment. Like figure out what you want your board to look like so that you know this space is where I'm going to be most creative. This space is where I'm going to wind down. This space is when I host. Like find out what different rooms in the house mean to you. Which brings me to my next point. If you're a little bit deeper into your renting history, or maybe this is your third, maybe your fourth place that you're about to live in, don't just ask to rent. See if you can be building equity too. So I recently started getting really deep into learning about equity. And basically what it is the portion of the property you own. And it builds as you pay down your mortgage and the property increases in value. So very opposite to cars. When you buy a car and you drive it off the lot, it depreciates. That's it. Like it's no longer brand new. There's no like big incentives unless like you truly took care of it. Maybe you'll get half of what you got it for. But houses, apartments, condos, those appreciate in value. So say for example, you bought a condo, a townhome, or like a starter home. Live in it for 1 to 2 years and the value goes up. You can then sell it or rent it out later. Like truly shout out to my parents. Like it's really been helpful. They're both realtors. So it has been nice to understand what that looks like, because one thing we can't get ever again is land. Like what we have is what we have. Just to put things even more in perspective, if you're considering a condo or a townhome or even that starter home, say for example, you bought it at $250,000. I know that sounds like a lot, but you're not paying $250,000 up front. You have a monthly mortgage the same way you have monthly rent. In 2 years, it might be worth $300,000. And this matters because if you sell it and pay off your mortgage, you will walk away with $30,000 to $50,000, depending on the equity and kind of the market, but that's free money. And once I learned that concept, I was like, oh, maybe I should stop just looking at apartments. Like I should just go ahead and get into something. Even if I think where I'm at right now is not where I want to be forever, I can eventually then put it as a rental property. Put someone in there when I find my next home and just make that kind of passive income. Like that's really the smartest way to go about it. Now, I'm not a realtor. I don't know. I have resources in my life, praise God, that can help me understand that. But consider thinking about attaching equity to your name, because the longer you wait, the less options and choices you have to see what can go about your life in passive income ways. And I think real estate is honestly top 3, if not 3 for sure. So consider it. Now, if you're not there and you're like, nope, I still want to get an apartment, or like you're just ready to sign a lease, or you're about to sign one and it's just not something that you're looking to do right now, here are a few questions to ask before signing it. Ask what utilities are included. Ask what the average monthly cost of the ones that aren't. Ask how the noise level is. Thin walls, upstairs neighbors. Do they have quiet hours? Make sure someone's not vacuuming at 11 p.m. at night and you're trying to sleep, or you have a child with you. Is parking included, not just for you, but for your guest as well? Some places have street parking and it's like 4 slots for like 12 people that are almost always there. So really ask about that. See if you can pay an extra fee to get another parking slot, or whatever the case is. Ask about pet policy and breed restrictions. When I was thinking about, so my next dog for sure is probably going to be a Doberman. Yes, I'm that kind of girly, whatever that means. I've heard that before. And I was like, I just think they're cute. Some places won't allow you to have dogs that are deemed as like danger or guard dogs. I don't necessarily agree with that notion, but Dobermans, Pit Bulls, Rottweilers are typically the top 3 that can be on the list. Dobermans, I think, have a little bit more flexibility, but for sure, Rottweilers and Pit Bulls can be there. So just kind of see where their breed restrictions begin and end. This one is kind of like a tricky question to ask, but you don't want them to get a perception of you if you're truly just asking questions, but you can ask if there's a grace period for rent, late fee, whatever. Maybe your job doesn't pay until the 6th and rent is due by the 5th. Like, maybe ask in that light so that they don't think that, oh, this person's not going to pay their rent. Ask about their process for maintenance requests. One place that I lived in, they took like a week and a half to get to something that was so small, and we just couldn't take it anymore. So really ask them, like, does it take about a week? Does it take a couple days, couple hours? Ask those questions. And then before you move in, document everything. Take pictures of what the walls look like, the floors, the cabinets, the bathroom, the sink, the toilet, the shower, the bedroom, like everything, the washer and dryer, like every single thing, the closet. I'm probably missing stuff, but overdo it, because when you move out, you don't want them dinging you for anything. And then note that when you move in, like, hey, I noticed that like the bathroom ceiling has like a little bit of a crack in it. I just wanted to note that before I move in, but everything else should look fine. Here are my attached pictures. All right, it protects your deposit. Lastly, the fun stuff people forget to plan. Don't just focus on your rent, focus on enjoying it too. You're paying all that money, you might as well feel really good and safe in that space. Have a Sunday reset corner where you can read your Bible or just listen to a podcast. Plan your first housewarming if you want people inside your house and that's not a big deal to you. Think about how you want your mornings and nights to feel and figure out what rooms you do that in. Treat it like designing your life, not just your apartment. And some final reminders, I'll just kind of breeze through the list. Change your address. When you do all of that, make sure your mail is coming. You usually have up to a year to do all those changes. Update your addresses on Amazon, any like shopping things that you have, food apps, subscriptions, etc. Get renter's insurance. It's usually only like $30 a month. Schedule your Wi-Fi install before you move in. There's nothing worse than having to get on a meeting and you don't have Wi-Fi. Label your boxes and pack a day and night box so that like if you can't get to everything, you at least know this one box I packed has 2 pairs of night clothes, 2 pairs of work clothes, and a pair of day clothes and some shoes that I can just easily get to with my toothbrush and all that jazz. And leave a cleaning kit so you can literally clear out the space. I'm gonna do a part 3 to this video because I don't want this to be too much of information overload, but this should get you started within part 2. Moving out is one of the best resets. Take advantage of it. If this helped out, leave this emoji to let me know you stayed until the end of the video and that you're a real one. And let me know below like if there are any other websites you use when you're moving out, because I would love to know and I'm sure everyone else would too. So I'll see you guys in the next episode of Party of One Podcast. Peace.